Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're talking about the 2022 United States $quarter featuring Dr. Sally Ride. But this isn't just a beautiful tribute to America's first woman in space, it's also a coin that collectors are scrambling to find. Why? Because some versions of this coin have rare errors and minting quirks that have turned them into ultra-valuable pieces of numismatic history. So grab your magnifying glass and let's take a closer look. You'll want to watch this one all the way through, because by the end, you'll find out just how much one of these coins can be worth. Spoiler alert, it's a jaw-dropper. Let's start with a little background. The Sally Ride Quarter is part of the American Women Quarters program, launched by the U.S. Mint in 2022. This program celebrates trailblazing women who've made extraordinary contributions to the country, and Dr. Sally Ride is without a doubt one of them. She became the first American woman in space in 1983, and ever since, she's been an icon of science, courage, and breaking barriers. Her quarter captures that spirit perfectly. On one side, you'll see George Washington, the familiar face we all know, but with a twist. This new design shows him facing right, unlike the traditional left-facing portrait. It's a subtle shift, but it symbolizes a new direction, a new era, and a fresh perspective on history. Flip it over and there she is, Dr. Sally Ride, gazing out toward Earth from the window of the space shuttle. The detail is stunning. She's shown floating in space, the curvature of the Earth behind her, and her name boldly etched in the design. It's not just currency, it's storytelling in metal, but here's where things get exciting. While the standard 2022 Sally Ride quarters are great collectibles on their own, some rare versions of this coin contain minting errors that can make them incredibly valuable. We're talking about double die errors, where parts of the design appear to be stamped twice, misaligned dies, where the images don't line up properly. Off-center strikes, where the entire image is shifted to one side. Even die cracks or extra material in places that weren't supposed to be there. These errors happen when the coin presses at the US Mint get out of sync, but instead of being thrown away, some of these mistake coins make it into circulation. And when they do, collectors go wild. Why? Because error coins are like fingerprints, they're completely unique. No two are exactly alike, and that makes them incredibly desirable. Add to that the fact that this is a first-year release of the American Women series, and you've got the perfect recipe for collectible gold, or in this case, silver-toned quarters worth far more than 25 cents. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your Sally Ride quarter is valuable? Start by checking the mint mark. Coins from the Philadelphia, P, Denver, D, and especially San Francisco, S, mints can all have value, but proof versions and those with errors are where the real money is. Look for doubling in the text or odd details in her hair, the window, or even George Washington's profile. Also, if your coin has a shiny mirror-like finish, it might be a proof coin. These were made for collectors and not meant for circulation. Finding one of these in the wild is like finding a four-leaf clover made of silver. Collectors are paying serious cash for these rare finds, especially those in uncirculated condition or certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. If your quarter is in pristine shape, has a rare error, or is a high-grade proof, you could be looking at a massive payday. So, now for the moment everyone's been waiting for. Just how much could one of these rare 2022 Dr. Sally Ride quarters be worth, if you have the right combination, a rare mint error, in mint condition, possibly with certification? You might be holding a coin that's worth a staggering $40,000, yes, you heard that right. A quarter that most people would toss into a vending machine could actually be worth $40,000. That's enough to buy a car, take a luxury vacation, or build the coin collection of your dreams. So, here's the takeaway: check your change. Look at your quarters. You might be sitting on a tiny time capsule of space history, and a serious investment opportunity. Top 2, we're diving into one of the most iconic coins ever minted in the United States. It's a piece of American history, a collector's dream, and, believe it or not, it could be sitting in your pocket change right now. I'm talking about the United States quarter dollar with the dual date 1776 to 1976. Yes, the bicentennial quarter. Most people think of it as just another quarter with a cool design. But what if I told you that some of these coins are so rare, and have such incredible hidden details, that they could be worth tens of thousands of dollars? And in one astonishing case, even more. So stay tuned, because we're about to uncover the secrets behind this legendary coin, and you do not want to miss what it could be worth in today's market. Let's start with the basics. The 1776 to 1976 quarter was issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the United States independence. This wasn't just another coin, it was part of a national celebration. Millions of these quarters were minted with a unique reverse design featuring a colonial drummer and a victory torch surrounded by 13 stars, representing the original colonies. It was patriotic, symbolic, and incredibly popular. Now, because these coins were minted in large quantities for general circulation, most people think they're only worth 25 cents. But here's where things get interesting. Not all bicentennial quarters are created equal. There are multiple versions, rare mint varieties, and even minting errors that have turned some of these coins into serious collector's items. Let's break it down. First, we have the standard circulation strikes, which were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. You'll see a small P or D on those coins. Then, there are the special collector's editions, proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint. Some of these were made in 40% silver, not the usual copper-nickel blend, and here's where the real magic happens. Some of these coins, particularly the silver-proof versions, have minting errors or unusual die varieties that make them incredibly valuable. We're talking about double die obverse and reverse errors, where parts of the image appear stamped twice. Off-center strikes, which shift the entire design slightly off its proper position. Struck-through errors, where debris got between the die and the blank, leaving unique marks. Even quarters with the wrong planchet, coins struck on metal discs meant for other denominations or compositions. And then, there are the deep cameo-proof quarters, coins that feature a mirror-like background and heavily frosted design elements. If you find a 1776, 1976 silver proof with a deep cameo finish and zero flaws, you're looking at an extremely valuable coin. But what makes the bicentennial quarter especially exciting is the mystery factor. So many of them were minted, yet only a few of the rarest types survived in pristine condition. Many ended up scratched, worn down, or tossed into circulation where their value dropped to pocket change. Collectors are obsessed with finding the holy grail of bicentennial quarters, those in perfect condition with ultra-rare errors, or the high-grade silver-proof versions that have been authenticated and preserved. Now here's the twist you've been waiting for: most bicentennial quarters worth about 25 cents. A well-preserved silver-proof version? Maybe worth a few $100s. But the rarest examples, the ones with perfect strike quality, deep cameo contrast, silver content, and verified mint errors, those coins enter an entirely different league. And one such rare bicentennial quarter, a nearly flawless silver proof with an error and certified by a top grading company, recently shocked the coin world when it was valued at $98,000. Yes, you heard that right. $98,000. For a quarter. A coin most people pass over every single day without a second thought. So if you've got one of these dual-dated 1776 to 1976 quarters lying around, check it. Look closely. Examine the mint mark. Weigh it. Hold it under light. Get it graded if it looks flawless. Because you never know when that humble coin in your hand could turn out to be a collector's jackpot. And here's a quick pro tip for all our fellow coin hunters out there: keep your eyes on coins that look a little off. Whether it's a strange shine, a shifted design, or unexpected details, those are the clues that tell you a coin might be special. Collectors know it's not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, errors, and history. The bicentennial quarter has all of that wrapped into one powerful little piece of metal. Top 3, we're diving into one of the most underrated and misunderstood coins in your pocket change. It's a piece of history that most people overlook. But not you. Because today, we're talking about the United States 1974 quarter dollar, and what lies beneath its simple design might just surprise you. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter you've probably spent at a vending machine or tossed into a jar. But don't be fooled. There are some rare and mysterious versions of the 1974 quarter that collectors are on the hunt for, coins that have slipped through the cracks of the US Mint with surprising errors or unexpected features. So, if you've ever looked at your change and wondered, could this be worth more than 25 cents? You're going to want to stick around. Because by the end of this video, we'll reveal just how valuable a 1974 quarter can be. And trust me, it's a number that will blow your mind. Let's go back in time for a moment. The year was 1974. America was coming out of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal was unraveling, and inflation was shaking the economy. Amid all of that, the US Mint continued doing what it does best, producing coins for everyday use. And one of those was the 1974 quarter. Now, the regular 1974 quarter was struck in two main places: the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, where coins were marked with a small d on the front next to Washington's ponytail. Millions were made. Literally hundreds of millions. So what makes this coin so special? Well, most of them are just worth face value. But there are a few that contain rare mint errors, unexpected metal compositions, and anomalies that make them stand out from the crowd, and those are the ones collectors will pay thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars to get their hands on. Let's talk about the types of rare versions you might come across. First up, minting errors. These are where the magic happens for collectors. We're talking about things like double die obverse, where the front of the coin shows doubled images or letters. Off-center strikes, where the coin is struck incorrectly, leaving part of the design missing. Clipped planchets, where a piece of the coin's metal is missing due to a minting defect, and even struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the quarter was accidentally struck on a metal blank meant for a different coin, like a penny or nickel. There are also rumors, and some verified cases, of 1974 quarters struck on 40% silver planchets, left over from earlier coinage. Remember, by 1971, silver had largely been phased out of circulating quarters. But sometimes, mistakes happened, and leftover silver blanks made their way into the presses. Now, a regular 1974 quarter made of copper nickel is cool to have, but one with a silver composition or a dramatic error? That's when the value skyrockets. One of the most exciting things about collecting coins is the unknown. You never know what you'll find unless you look. Maybe it's in that old drawer. Maybe it's in your piggy bank. Or maybe it's in the handful of change you just got from the grocery store. Collectors are always on the hunt for high-grade specimens of the 1974 quarter, especially those in uncirculated condition or graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. If your coin is free from scratches, has a strong strike, full details, and luster, that's a good sign. And if it has an error? Even better, the thrill is in the discovery. And the value? Well, that's the real surprise. So now, the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1974 quarters are worth 25 cents, the rarest versions, those struck on silver planchets, those with dramatic minting errors, and those preserved in top-grade condition, can be valued at an absolutely jaw-dropping amount. One rare and nearly flawless 1974 quarter, certified and known to have a unique mint error, has been valued at $87,000. Yes, you heard that right. $87,000. For a coin that most people would never even think twice about, and that's why coin collecting is so powerful. It's not just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. Every coin tells a story. Every piece in your change could be a hidden gem. The 1974 quarter is proof of that. So before you spend that next quarter on a parking meter or soda, give it a second look. Who knows? You could be holding history, and a fortune, in the palm of your hand. Top 4, we're talking about the United States quarter dollar from 1990. That's right, just a regular-looking quarter, minted more than 3 decades ago, during a time when the US Mint was mass-producing billions of coins. But here's the thing, not all 1990 quarters are created equal. In fact, there are some rare and mysterious versions of this coin that collectors are desperately hunting for, and if you're lucky enough to find one, it could completely change your idea of what a simple 25-cent coin is worth. Let's take a deeper look into this fascinating piece of currency, because this isn't just a quarter. It's a potential treasure. The 1990 quarter was struck at two primary mints, Philadelphia, which you can recognize by the absence of a mint mark, and Denver, where you'll find a tiny D on the front of the coin just to the right of George Washington's ponytail. The design itself is classic, George Washington on the obverse, the majestic eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. Clean, patriotic, timeless, but buried within those millions of coins minted in 1990 are a few rare specimens with serious errors, and those are the coins that are turning heads in the numismatic world. Now, let's talk about what kind of errors make these coins so valuable. First, there's the legendary double die error. This happens when the coin is struck twice slightly off alignment, causing noticeable doubling in the lettering or design. If you spot two outlines of the word Liberty or see overlapping details in Washington's profile, you could be looking at something very special. Then we have off-center strikes, where the coin blank wasn't perfectly aligned when struck. These can range from slightly off to dramatically misaligned, with part of the design completely missing. The more extreme the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. Another one to look for is the wrong planchet error. This is when a quarter is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for a different denomination, like a dime or even a foreign coin. The weight, thickness, and color might be different, and if that's the case, congratulations, you could be holding a 1 in a million find. There are even clad layer errors, where the top nickel layer peels away, revealing the copper core beneath. These split planchet or missing clad layer quarters are eye-catching, unusual, and highly collectible. But wait, it doesn't stop there. Some of the most valuable 1990 quarters are in flawless, uncirculated condition. These coins were never used in commerce, never handled roughly, and have preserved their sharp details, original mint luster, and smooth, untouched surfaces. If your coin still shines like the day it was struck and has no visible signs of wear, it might qualify for professional grading, and a high-grade rating can send its value soaring. Collectors today are not just looking for coins with historical value, they're chasing rarity, condition, and error uniqueness. And the 1990 quarter has become a hidden favorite for people who know what to look for. Now you might be thinking, I've got a whole jar of old quarters. How do I know if I have a rare one? Here's what to do: grab a magnifying glass and inspect the text and images closely. Look for doubling, strange lines, or missing details. Weigh your coin. If it's significantly lighter or heavier than the standard 5.67 grams, it could have been struck on the wrong metal. Check the edges. Missing ridges or uneven edges could be signs of a minting flaw. That if it looks absolutely perfect, without a single scratch or smudge, you might have an uncirculated gem worth submitting to a grading service. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1990 quarters are worth just 25 cents. There are a few rare versions, coins with major mint errors, wrong planchets, or perfect mint condition, that have stunned collectors and sold for prices beyond belief. One of the rarest known 1990 quarters, featuring a verified mint error and preserved in near-perfect condition, was valued at an astounding $68,000. Yes, you heard that right, $68,000. For a coin most people would never even notice. That's why it pays to look closely. That coin in your change tray or old drawer could be more than just a forgotten piece of metal. It could be your next big discovery. So, if you've enjoyed this video and you love the thrill of finding treasure in the everyday, make sure you like, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. We've got plenty more amazing coin stories, tips, and jaw-dropping values coming your way. Top 5, we're talking about the United States quarter dollar from 1971. A coin that most people wouldn't even glance at twice, but one that has become a hidden gem in the world of numismatics. You might have one right now in your wallet, in a drawer, or mixed in with your spare change, but here's what makes it exciting. While most 1971 quarters are worth just 25 cents, a few extremely rare versions have shocked collectors with their unusual features, minting mistakes, and astonishing values. So make yourself comfortable, coin lovers, because this video is going to take you deep into the world of rare errors, secret variations, and the incredible value some of these overlooked coins can hold. Let's set the scene. The year was 1971. The Vietnam War was still ongoing, Disney World had just opened in Florida, and the U.S. Mint was cranking out millions of quarters to meet the growing demand for coins across the country. Now, the 1971 quarter features the iconic design we all recognize, George Washington on the obverse side, and a bold eagle with wings spread wide on the reverse. It was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver's coins carry a small D just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Millions were minted, and most of them were used in everyday transactions for decades. So what's the big deal? Here's where it gets interesting. Out of those millions of coins, a tiny number were struck with errors, anomalies, and features that make them rare beyond belief. And these are the coins that serious collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Let's talk about some of the most valuable types of 1971 quarters that have been discovered. First, there's the double die error. These are coins that were struck with a die that had already been engraved twice, but just slightly off. The result? Doubling in the lettering, numbers, or even in the details of Washington's face. These kinds of errors are extremely collectible because they're easy to spot and incredibly hard to find. Next, we have the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't placed perfectly in the press, and part of the design ends up off the edge. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. A 5% error? Interesting. A 50% off-center coin? That's a jackpot. Then there are planchet errors, and this is where things get really exciting. A planchet is the blank metal disc a coin is struck on. Most 1971 quarters were made of a copper-nickel clad composition. But in rare cases, some coins may have been struck on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. If your 1971 quarter looks different, weighs less than expected, or sounds unusual when dropped, you could be holding a silver error coin. There's also the rare possibility of a wrong denomination planchet. Imagine a quarter that was struck on a dime-sized blank or a foreign coin planchet. These ultra-rare mismatches create unique and valuable errors that collectors go wild for. Let's not forget about clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a mistake during the cutting of the blanks. These jagged or crescent-shaped coins are immediately eye-catching and sought after. Now, maybe you're wondering, how do I know if my 1971 quarter is special? Start by examining it closely under good lighting. Look at the edges. Does it seem off? Are the ridges uneven or missing? Check for doubling in the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. Use a scale. If your coin weighs more than 5.67 grams or less, that could be a red flag, in a good way, and if your coin looks flawless, sharp, and shiny, like it just left the mint, it could be an uncirculated coin worth grading. Coins in mint state condition, especially those with errors, can bring in huge values at auction. Now comes the part you've been waiting for. While the average 1971 quarter is only worth its face value, the rarest examples, those with verified mint errors, silver composition, or in near-perfect condition, have stunned collectors and dealers across the country. In one incredible case, a rare and beautifully preserved 1971 quarter, struck with a dramatic mint error and authenticated by professional graders, was valued at a breathtaking $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. $78,000. For a coin that people handle every day without even noticing. This is why we say never underestimate your pocket change. The next time you're sorting through your coins or emptying your change jar, remember, one of those quarters could be your golden ticket. Top 6, we're going to uncover the secrets behind a coin that most people overlook every single day. We're talking about the United States quarter dollar from the year 1988. That's right, just a regular 25-cent coin at first glance, but for a few lucky collectors, this coin has turned out to be a rare and incredibly valuable discovery. And here's the best part. You could have won and not even know it. Let's dive in and explore why this particular quarter has become such an object of interest among coin enthusiasts and why certain versions of it are commanding jaw-dropping prices in the market. The 1988 quarter features the classic and timeless design, George Washington. On the obverse, and on the reverse, the bold American eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches. A symbol of strength and peace. It's a design we all recognize. It's been in our pockets, in our cars, and in our hands for decades, but just because something is familiar, doesn't mean it's ordinary. This coin was minted in two main locations, Philadelphia, where it bears no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a small d. Hundreds of millions of these coins were struck and sent into circulation. So how on earth could one of them be worth more than your monthly salary, maybe even your yearly income? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and minting errors. And that's where things get really interesting. Let's start with mint errors. These are mistakes made during the coin's production process at the mint, and they're exactly what collectors go crazy for. One of the most sought-after errors on 1988 quarters is the double die error. This happens when the coin die itself is engraved with a design that's slightly misaligned and ends up striking the coin twice. The result? You'll see doubling on letters like Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date itself. These coins are fairly rare and extremely valuable, especially when the doubling is bold and obvious. Another error that sparks major collector interest is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is struck while slightly off its intended alignment. Depending on how far off-center it is, a significant part of the design may be missing or shifted, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Then there's the wrong planchet error, and this is where things start to feel like a true treasure hunt. Imagine a quarter that was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a nickel or even a foreign coin. These are extremely rare and often instantly recognizable by their size, weight, or strange color tone. One confirmed instance even includes 1988 quarters struck on experimental planchets, likely as part of internal mint testing procedures. If you come across a 1988 quarter that looks different in color, or weighs less or more than the standard 5.67 grams, it's time to take a closer look. You might be staring at a coin that's far more than just spare change. Let's also talk about missing clad layer errors. This occurs when the outer layer of the coin's metal is missing, exposing the copper core underneath. These coins have a unique reddish tone on one or both sides and are incredibly collectible, especially if they're in good shape, and speaking of shape, condition is everything. Even a rare error won't bring top dollar if the coin is heavily scratched, worn down, or corroded. That's why uncirculated coins, or those in mint state condition, are especially valuable. These coins show no signs of wear, have full luster, and can sometimes look like they were just struck yesterday. So now, the big question, what could one of these coins be worth? Well, while most 1988 quarters are only worth their face value, a small number of them, those with significant errors, flawless condition, and authenticated rarity, have stunned the coin collecting world. These aren't just nice finds, they're the kind of coins people dream of discovering in an old change jar or coin collection, and one particular example, a 1988 quarter with a dramatic double die error, uncirculated, and professionally graded, was valued at an astonishing $70,000. That's right, $70,000. For a single quarter. Just imagine, what if the next time you check your change, you find one of these? That humble coin you almost spent on a gumball machine could actually fund your next vacation, pay off debt, or even serve as a down payment on a home. So here's your challenge, start looking at your coins differently. Examine them closely. Use a magnifying glass. Weigh them. Look for those strange details. And never assume that a coin from the 80s is too new to be valuable. Because as you now know, even a 1988 quarter can hold a fortune. Top 7, and last unique coin, we're talking about the United States quarter dollar from the year 1967. Now, don't let that year fool you. It wasn't a bicentennial year, it doesn't have a special commemorative design, and on the surface, it looks just like any other Washington quarter, but dig just a little deeper, and you'll find that the 1967 quarter holds secrets that have made collectors all across the world sit up and pay attention. Let's set the stage. The year is 1967. The Beatles are dominating the charts, color TVs are becoming a household luxury, and the United States Mint is in the middle of a coinage transition. Just a couple of years earlier, silver had been removed from dimes and quarters due to rising silver prices. That made 1967 one of the early years of the new copper-nickel-clad quarters, but here's the twist, the mint didn't place any mint marks on coins in 1965, 1966, or 1967. Why? Because they were trying to discourage coin hoarding during the coinage changeover. That alone makes these years feel a bit different for collectors. But for 1967, in particular, some extremely rare errors have made it one of the most talked about quarters from the entire decade. Now let's talk about what sets the 1967 quarter apart and why you need to check your coins very closely. First up, off-metal strikes. There have been confirmed cases of 1967 quarters that were mistakenly struck on planchets meant for other coins, such as a dime or even a foreign coin blank. These errors are almost always worth money, especially if the size or weight of the coin is off. If you come across a 1967 quarter that feels too light or has unusual coloration, don't ignore it. It could be a misstrike. Then there's the possibility of striking on leftover silver planchets. Even though the mint officially stopped using silver for quarters in 1964, mistakes do happen. Some 1967 quarters have been discovered with characteristics that suggest they were struck on leftover silver blanks. These are extremely rare, and because silver quarters ring with a distinct tone and weigh differently than clad coins, experienced collectors know how to spot them. Next up, we have double die errors, where parts of the design, especially the lettering or numbers, appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These errors are especially desirable when the doubling is obvious and dramatic, and 1967 is no exception. Look at Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date. If the letters seem thicker or blurred, you could be holding a double die treasure, another rarity. Struck-through errors, where foreign material like grease or fibers interferes during the striking process, leaving behind missing or ghost-like elements in the design. While not as flashy as a wrong planchet or double die, these types of errors are still collectible, especially from an already error-prone year like 1967. But there's one more layer to this mystery, and that's condition. A flawless 1967 quarter, with its original luster, no scratches, no dings, and sharp design details, is extremely hard to come by. Most coins from that year were heavily circulated. Finding one in uncirculated or mint state condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. And if you combine pristine condition with a major mint error, well, that's where the magic happens. So what should you do? Start by going through your quarters. Use a magnifying glass, check the weight, feel the surface. Does the edge show copper, or is it all silver in color? Does the coin ring like a clad coin, or does it have that higher-pitched ping of silver? Is anything misaligned, missing, or doubled? If so, you may just have something truly extraordinary. And now, what you've been waiting for, the big reveal. While most 1967 quarters are only worth their face value, a select few, featuring rare minting errors or experimental compositions, especially in brilliant mint condition, have caught the attention of serious collectors. One of the rarest known 1967 quarters, confirmed to be struck on a silver planchet and preserved in stunning condition, was valued at an unbelievable $89,000. Yes, you heard that right, $89,000. For a single 25-cent coin. That's the power of numismatics. That's the excitement of the hunt. And that's why you should never overlook even the most ordinary-looking coin in your collection. It could turn out to be the story, and payday, of a lifetime. If you loved this video and want more incredible coin facts, stories, and surprises, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next discovery. Until next time, keep checking your change, stay curious, and most of all, happy collecting.